Good morning, YouTube. Today is the 3rd of March, 2014. I just went through my 4th adjustment in this NUCCA type chiropractic adjustment series over at the Balance Wellness and Chiropractic Center in Colorado Springs with Scott Gam. So it's my 4th adjustment now. I've been in Ketosis in Atkins Induction for the better part of about 2 weeks now, I'd say. I like to talk mostly about the diet aspect of things today, although I will mention with the adjustments. Something that kind of went through my head today a little bit is that it's strange that these adjustments are so subtle, you know, and I'm used to the way I judge my surroundings and everything is, you know, by my senses. So it's kind of strange, kind of a little bit of suspension of disbelief to be receiving these adjustments, which hardly feels like little more than him just kind of pressing behind my ear, but apparently that it's exerting such force through the ligaments and everything through my neck and the area of my atlas bones and everything, which obviously something's working, you know, it's having effects. You know, the nerve damage that I feel regularly throughout my left arm and the stiffness and tension is going away. I haven't been on any medications in quite a while. When I used to regularly be on inflammatories and everything, just because of kind of what was developing as a chronic condition. But I've been feeling like I've been standing straighter, a little more limber, a little more active, more energy, you know, more like I used to be. So obviously something's going on, but it's kind of funny having to kind of suspend my disbelief because I don't feel any actual movements taking place, anything being adjusted, anything being moved around. But that is how Scott said it would be, you know, that it's just very subtle like that. So there's definitely something to this. So today was my 4th adjustment. And things are getting better all the time. So as far as my diet goes, I weighed in at 237 this morning, 237 even. When I started this, I weighed in kind of around the 20th after I decided to go into induction on the 18th of last month. In the vicinity of, well, a little over 248, so 248 and change. I was 237 this morning even, which is a drop of a little over 11 pounds. Since I didn't actually record what that change was, I'll just consider it 11 pounds for now. But I have been in ketosis now for probably the better part of 2 weeks, and without looking into my previous logs and records and everything, that's probably the longest I've been in ketosis. I haven't been in solid ketosis all that time because, as you recall in my last video, I mentioned having a little bit of a cheat day, justifying when I went down below a 10-pound mark. You know, I passed under, or I hit, I should say, 240, and then justified being able to have some sweets. I had a beer with dinner and stuff like that and kicked myself out of ketosis. But I got back into ketosis fairly quickly. Interesting thing you should note about ketosis. And a lot of people that are new to Atkins and ketosis through fasting and other forms of achieving ketosis
Wednesday is right around the corner.
Is the difference in the weight loss, the speed of the weight loss. You know, just like if you watch my other fasting videos and everything, you could see that I was losing weight extremely quickly in the beginning. And through the fasting, because it was actual fasting, I was starving. You know, I lost weight pretty consistently throughout. But often you'll see when you get to Atkins, you'll lose a lot of weight quickly. And then that weight loss will slow down. It'll slow down considerably. And I was reading some articles about that, and you know, it's an interesting concept, and I've been experiencing the concept directly lately, that when you begin ketosis, you know, the first thing that happens before you really get into solid ketosis is you burn up all the glycogen in your muscles, all the sugar fuel that gets stored there. Now, glycogen is composed of glucose, which is the stuff that, you know, makes your blood sugar spike. That's the sugar fuel that your body uses directly from your bloodstream after it gets absorbed and converted into that from your intake. Anyway, it's a combination of glucose and water. Apparently, from what I read, glucose is combined with 7 or 8 water molecules. One molecule of glucose, 7 or 8 water molecules, and then that's what's bound into your muscles and your liver as glycogen. Obviously, you know, muscle's got a bit of weight, or water's got a bit of weight to it, and what happens is, you know, your glycogen is used up first before your body goes into ketosis and starts burning fat. So, in the beginning, when you're burning up all that glycogen until you're out of glycogen, you're also releasing a lot of water molecules. So that's where a lot of that initial weight comes from. It's from water. That's also why when you go on a fast or when you're on induction for Atkins, after you're done with the diet and either you have a cheat day or you get off of it permanently and start taking in enough carbohydrates again in order to transition the burning of the fuel back to carbohydrates then instead of fat, which is, you know, the normal way to burn glycogen again. You put on weight again. You know, you put on about 6 to 8 pounds of water weight. So you got to keep in mind when you go into ketosis, the first 6 to 8 pounds like that you lose, which go away really quickly because you burn up all that glycogen within a couple of days, that's all water weight. So you got to kind of think in terms of where your weight loss is. Wherever you are in your weight loss, you can figure your real weight is about 6 to 8 pounds above that, because as soon as you start eating normally again, you're going to bind all that water back to the glucose molecules, back into glycogen in your muscles again. So me being at, 237 means my actual weight is somewhere in the vicinity of 243, which, being as I started a little bit above 248, over this time that I've been in ketosis so far and paying attention to this new diet stuff, I've essentially burned about 4 or 5 pounds of fat. You can also figure that when the glycogen is gone, the fat, when you actually get into ketosis and start burning fat as a primary source, it's going to burn slower, because 1 pound of glycogen and all that stuff contains considerably less caloric energy than like a pound of fat, which everybody knows who's paying attention to diet that 3,500 calories is a pound of fat. So I don't remember the actual numbers here. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but glycogen might be like 600 calories to 3,500 calories of fat. So by the time you actually start burning just fat, your burn rate kind of slows down to a ratio of about 1/6 of what it was before, because it takes that much longer to burn through a pound of fat. But make no mistake, as long as you're getting in your protein and you're staying moderately active, that is fat you're burning, and you're not just getting rid of and moving water around. So, interesting stuff. Keep that in mind if you're new to this induction stuff and everything. You're going to lose a lot of fat in the beginning, or you're going to lose a lot of weight in the beginning, but a lot of it is water. And no matter what your weight is, while you're keeping track of all this stuff, you got to keep in mind that your actual weight is going to be about 6 to 8 pounds higher than wherever you are at the time when you're in ketosis. And that's what happens with cheat days too. See, like I'm only at 237 right now, which I'm happy with, because if I look at the amount of actual fat that I burned, it's fairly considerable for a couple of weeks. But if you are in ketosis suddenly, and then you give yourself a cheat day and get knocked out of ketosis, obviously just having, an evening's worth of carbs is not the same as having, days worth of glycogen built up in your system. So it'll kick out and get back into ketosis, fairly quickly. But you got to keep in mind, if you're solid in ketosis and you're burning fat, in ketosis and everything, if you suddenly eat a candy bar or something, that glycogen, whatever is taken from the candy bar and converted into glucose and put back into your muscles as glycogen, is going to be bound to a bunch of water at the same time. So it's going to be weird, because it's like you're going to put on a lot of weight suddenly, and then it's going to take some time to get that back off again. Like when I took my little cheat day, that was because I hit 240. But, it was for a few days that I was hovering around 240 before I got below it again, and now I'm at 237. And that's because, of that weird stuff that was going on with the glycogen and the water and all that stuff. So, and then now I'm, solidly in ketosis again and continuing, which, I may be inclined to do that again at 230. But everything you do like that slows things down. You can also slow down your ketosis by drinking alcohol. It doesn't get stored in your body the same way that, a candy bar does. But, this alcohol is carbohydrate rocket fuel. It doesn't get stored as glycogen, but it stays in your bloodstream or whatever and gets burned up. So basically your ketosis, your fat burning, is put on hold until whatever alcohol you take in is burned up and gone away. Like I've been in the evenings, and it's been interesting because I've been able to see lots of things I've been consuming that I've been theorizing wouldn't really affect ketosis or not kick me out of it anyway, and I've been able to confirm that by using ketone strips, where your urine shows the presence of ketones or the lack of presence of ketones. So, but, each night I've been having, a dry, vermouth martini made with vodka, or, some whiskey or something, or even a glass of absinthe last night, sans the sugar cubes. You just got to make sure that whatever it is that you're drinking, doesn't have some sort of flavoring or something to where it basically has sugar built into it. Vodka's pretty safe, generally, unless you get flavored vodkas. I figure whiskey is safe. I get dry, stronger whiskeys and everything. Don't know about the absinthe, but I'm still in ketosis, so it mustn't have been that bad. So, but anyway, whenever you drink that that liquid like that, the alcohol, it might be like 180 calories or something for a shot of vodka. So your body's always going to use the most efficient fuel first. So you're in ketosis, burning and producing ketones because you're burning fat, but you take in 180 calories worth of vodka, then suddenly that ketosis is going to stop until the body burns up the 180 calories worth of vodka and then go back to the ketosis. So lots of little things to consider. Interesting stuff. Well, day 4 of the adjustments, or the 4th adjustment, and maybe about 2 weeks or so into the diet, I'll have the actual specs at the end of the video. And stay tuned for more if you're interested in this stuff.